It is very important for low and middle income countries in East Asia to invest in higher education, because higher education can provide the skills and the research they need to become more productive. Let me illustrate my point further. It is fairly clear that in the context of the rapidly aging population, lower and middle income countries in East Asia, we need to derive much more of the impetus for growth from productivity improvements. Unfortunately, when we look at data and trends on output per worker across the region, we see that there are substantial gaps in productivity between lower and middle income countries and upper income ones, which raises two critical questions. How are these countries going to improve productivity in the short run? But also, how are these countries going to improve productivity in the longer run through technological improvement? There are at least three priority areas where public policy could have a very constructive role. The first area is financing. Low and middle income countries in the region could improve the way the higher education system is financed, both in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. This entails many different measures, but among others, what is really needed for these countries to incentivize and prioritize research more, and also making sure that they provide the scholarship and loan for the poor and disadvantaged that they do need. Second priority area, management of public sector institutions. After all, 70% of the students in lower and middle income countries in East Asia attend public institutions. It is therefore very important to make sure these institutions are well managed. Now, international and regional evidence unambiguously shows the benefits that autonomy and accountability can have for management. Third priority area is what we call stewardship of the higher education system. We also need to recognize that not all the actors part of the system are tightly under the control of higher education department. For instance, we do have private higher education institutions, we have the international higher education market, we have industry. At the same time, nonetheless, these actors also have an essential role to play in ensuring that higher education outcomes are achieved.
We've noticed a couple of emerging areas of concern. So the first is on the skills side. Generally speaking, the lower and middle income countries of East Asia could do a much better job of equipping their workers with the type of skills that are going to make them more effective in the labor market. What we've seen across the region is that employers want workers who have better problem-solving skills, better leadership skills, better decision-making skills, better technical skills than what they currently have inside their firms. And employees also feel the same need. So in some cases, in some countries, you see instances where 80% of workers need some kind of on-the-job training within their first year of entering the labor market. Secondly, if you look at wage premiums across the region, that you see in some cases for certain skills they are very high, for English skills, for problem solving, for numerical skills. So this means that workers or graduates who have these types of skills command much higher wages than workers who don't. And this signals a skill shortage in these areas. The principal argument that this study makes is that higher education is failing to live up to its promises is largely because more often than not, higher education systems in these countries have been managed as a set of isolated, disconnected institutions rather than as a coherent, holistic system. And what I mean by that is that too often the management of higher education in these countries has not taken into account the functions of the other critical actors in the system that also give rise to skill and research outcomes. And by this I mean firms, I mean other institutions that provide skills,